Hi and welcome to episode 76 of the This is Reportage podcast. My name is Alan Law, I'm the founder of this reportage and the Reportage Family, and I'm a photographer too. It was a real pleasure to chat to the very talented and lovely Emma Collins for this week's podcast. Emma is an award-winning documentary family photographer. She was ranked third in the UK on this Reportage Family for 2020, and also a co-founder of Made for Documentary, an educational platform for documentary family photographers. Emma has so many great stories to tell and advice to share in today's episode, including her top tips for improving your documentary family photography skills, how she became a photographer, her experience of studying and living in France, the story behind one of her specific Reportage Family Awards, storytelling, best ever friends episodes, and so much more. By the way, just to let you know that the deadline for our next round of awards is soon. Submit by 23:59 BST on 24th of May 2021. This deadline is the same for both our sites. This is Reportage for weddings, and this is Reportage Family for, well, family. Members receive 60 individual award and 18 story award entries per year, along with many other benefits. Find out all the details and join us at thisisreportage.com or thisisreportagefamily.com. Right, over to Emma. Hey Emma, how you doing?
Good, thank you. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all good. How's things with you? Where are you based in the UK?
So I'm in St Albans, so just north of London.
Oh, okay, cool. Nice. I don't think I've ever been. Have I been? No, I don't think I have.
It's a kind of like, it's a commuter town, really.
Right, okay. It sounds nice. It's got a nice name.
It is nice. We've got a cathedral, and there's the Roman stuff. You know, there's Roman remains and things, so it's kind of cool. But it's a bit dull as well.
Talking of dull, it's dull weather here in Cornwall today. How about with you?
Are you in Cornwall? Oh, I'm jealous. It's okay. We've got a bit of blue sky, a bit of clouds that look like they could have some. We're in May, aren't we? It feels like April showers. Is it doing where you are?
It is just the same, yeah.
Yeah. So often there's like a big sort of deluge, and then it's all right.
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? We've not had some proper nice warm weather yet. I think it's
because last year, obviously everyone remembers last year because we were in lockdown. And it was basically beautiful weather the whole time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, as soon as we're not allowed to go outside, like the sun opened up and it was glorious. Yeah. You've mentioned it there. Then let's talk about it. Obviously, so what was 2020 like for you? You know, both business wise or mentally wise. How was it?
The elephant in the room at the moment, isn't it? I can't have a conversation without it. No, it's all right actually. It was okay. I mean, obviously. My work was affected, but I don't know. I mean, the first lockdown. So I've got 3 kids. I've got an 18-year-old, nearly 18 actually. So I'm adding a couple of months on. And it's an A-level year. A 17-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 10-year-old.
Right.
So in the first lockdown, the older two just got on with their work. But I had to do. I spent loads of time with my youngest, just to help her with her schoolwork and stuff. And the school didn't give so much at that point. It was all a bit new, and so we had lots of time on our hands. And I was like her main source of company.
Oh.
And because her older brother and sister are a bit boring. They're not anyone who play with her.
Yeah.
And I think so. In a way, the fact that my work came to a standstill for those, 2 months, 3 months or something. It was actually quite nice, and we did a little photo project together.
Oh, was that with like little dolls and things?
Yeah, it kind of came because she's really creative and she's really into dolls and because there was nothing else to do. She was playing with them a lot and she likes making things for them. You should see her room. I should put some pictures of her room up. You can't actually get into her room because it's just like a town for small dolls.
Oh, that's cool.
And obviously that lockdown almost allowed her to grow that hobby. And it just, she's just making really cool, what I would call sets. And obviously she was just like, they were at her doll's house. And so we started taking pictures of them and it kind of grew. So that was quite good fun. It was a really nice little thing to do together.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Bonding and photography as well. Nice.
Yeah, and it was really confidence building for her as well. So that was kind of a really nice positive thing that came out of that because I didn't have so much to do at that point. And then in the summer it kind of returned to normal a bit actually.
What, work-wise or?
Yeah, because I think it was harder for wedding photographers, but for families, you could go back to doing some work, and so obviously anything that had been cancelled postponed rather in the first bit. So I had quite a lot of work over there.
That's good.
Summer, and managed to work right up until was it a November lockdown? I think we had here.
Oh, right, it wasn't it? I lose track of when they began and stuff, but it wasn't.
It must have been just before that. I had a family that I photographed before who phoned me the week before that happened. I think it was just the day before it was announced. They rang me and said, "Oh, we've just had another baby. Can we have another photo shoot with you?" And I sent some dates, and then by the time they got the dates, there'd been the lockdown announced. So we're like, okay, well, we better do it like today, tomorrow or something. So it was right up until that second lockdown I was working, which was...
Oh, that's good. You're managing to do quite a bit of work. And how's it looking now for the rest of this year coming ahead?
Quite a lot of stuff that's been postponed that was postponed longer than, a few months. So some of it was like family occasions that then couldn't happen.
Yeah.
They've been postponed. So I'm hoping quite a lot of those will definitely go ahead now. It feels more and more likely, actually.
Yeah, and they're going to be so kind of momentous to capture as well, isn't it? Those kind of family gatherings.
Yeah, I think it'll be really intense, actually. Because I get quite a lot, I don't know whether this is the same for many family folks, I get quite a lot of 70th birthdays where...
Oh, cool.
The children of the older people have bought it as a birthday present for their parents.
Oh, yeah.
To have a day recorded that's sort of like their birthday party and a day with all the family and the grandkids and stuff. So I had a few of those that were supposed to happen last year that didn't. So I think they're going to be sort of 71st.
Oh, that's cool. That must be really fun to capture those, I think.
It's really nice, yeah. And they're often people in different locations as well, or like summer houses and things, so they can be quite nice.
Oh, that's nice, yeah. It's my dad's 80th this Sunday coming up, actually.
Oh my gosh, that's a big momentous occasion. Are you doing anything? Anything?
Yeah, the next day is when restaurants can open in the UK inside, isn't it? So we're going out for a meal.
Excellent. How many of you are going to be there?
It's just going to be 6 of us. So me, 2 of my sisters. I've got many sisters, and then my wife, and then my mum and dad. Yeah, so it should be really...
How many sisters have you got there?
Well, I've got 5 sisters, actually. Yeah.
And any brothers? Just you?
No, just me. I was the accident at the end. I was not meant to be. But my parents say I was a good mistake, I think. So that's okay.
They got a boy as well, I mean.
Yeah, exactly. They kind of always wanted a boy, I think. Yeah, so no, it's all good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to just going out to restaurants again, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. And pubs are really weird now as well, aren't they?
I haven't been in actually since.
So I've only been to one, but I know. So my son's been to a few, and my husband's been out a couple of times, and you kind of order at the table and on apps and things. It's weird.
It's different. So, I wonder if they'll keep doing that kind of thing going forward.
We're having that conversation. I don't know whether they will or whether it'll go back to being able, when you can go back in and having rows of people pushing and trying to nudge and get in the way.
Yeah, I guess I don't miss that, but I probably will enjoy that. Even that, every little thing we're going out.
You appreciate different things, don't you? Did you get to go on holiday last year?
No, I didn't. Did you?
We did. Yeah, we were really lucky. We hit that sweet spot when it was okay because we'd already got our Eurotunnel ticket. We were originally going to do something completely different, and then we booked our Eurotunnel around half term last year, the February half term, literally just before all the news was coming in from Italy, and then we just put it on pause. And then when it started opening up in the summer, we're like, okay, let's go off the beaten track and do something different. So we went to we sort of did a road trip and did a little bit in the north of France, then to Germany and into the Czech Republic and came back again. So,
oh wow, that sounds great.
Yeah, it was really cool actually because the kids are older. So yeah, went to a few cities because they quite like going to cities now. So that was nice. But this year I think okay.
Oh, so that was the 5 of you, was it?
Sorry?
Was that the 5 of you altogether?
Yeah, and the dog.
Oh wow, the dog as well. I love that. Wow, that's cool. Oh, I'm kind of looking forward to. Yeah, so my kids, I've got 2 kids, but they're 9 and 6. I'm looking forward to them being your kind of age as well, and it must be fun.
It's really nice because they I don't know when it was, probably about 2 years ago, suddenly realised, no, 2 years ago, realised that the older two were quite, we stopped off in Paris in a campsite in Paris, and they were really excited about the idea of going into Paris. I was like, oh, wow, this is cool. This opens up some more interesting things that we can do with our time.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and Paris is magic, isn't it? Paris.
Yeah. I think it's a bit of, when you're that age and it's a bit like you tick off, like, I've been here, and here's a picture of me standing outside such and such, and it's like, they were quite excited about that. So,
oh, that's cool. Yeah, I went to Paris for my wife's 30th, and yeah, it's funny because we stood outside the Eiffel Tower, we didn't go up it, and then for her 40th, we went to Rome, and we went all outside the Colosseum, but didn't go in it. I don't know why we do that. Very bizarre. But Emma, let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning then. Let's go back. How did you become, a documentary family photographer? What's your journey? What's your why?
So I'll go really, really far back to when I was a kid, and my auntie. There's a lot of photographers, sort of amateur or less amateur, in my family, and my auntie's actually a film producer.
Oh wow, that's cool.
So she and they were journalists. Actually, she's a documentary film producer. Actually, interestingly, her and her husband were originally journalists, and then she started making films. So I used to go and stay at their house because they didn't have kids until they were quite a lot older. So I used to go and stay with them, and they'd take me into the studios and things, and I'd cut it. It was like obviously old school because I'm old. It was sort of like, film reels, and you'd cut it all up and stick bits together. So I'd make my own little films out of all her rushes.
Oh, that's cool.
And we'd take photos, and because they didn't have their own kids, when I'd go and stay there, they'd spend loads of time. It was like quite educational kind of visits with my aunt and uncle, right. And their dark room and develop pictures and stuff. So that's, I think, where my interest in photography started. And then when I was I bought myself a camera with a bonus that I got from my first job when I was in my early 20s, and it was just before I was taking a trip to China, and so that's why I bought it, to go there.
Okay.
But obviously didn't really know how to use my camera properly, and shot most of it in auto, and then not most of it, all of it in auto. I didn't know how to use it in any other way, and came back. I took so many rolls of film because we were away for quite a long time. Came back, took it to Snappy Snaps or something. Came pictures back, and there was this particular, don't know if you know China, but in Guilin in the south, there's the limestone peaks. They're quite typical sort of thing that you see in Chinese paintings and things, and it was absolutely stunning. I spent loads of time there, and I took loads of pictures. And these were the ones I was really excited about getting back, and they came back and they were all pink. Because basically it was quite overcast a lot of the time, and really overexposed, and I didn't understand that, and I took them back to
right, yeah.
You've done something wrong with my pictures. Right. And so from that moment on, I think I realised that I needed to learn how to use it properly. This was like what was it? It was like a obviously pre-digital or some film. It was like the equivalent of something like the EOS. What is it now?
Oh, okay.
D or something like that, but the film version.
Right. Oh, okay. Wow. Cool.
Then not long after that. Well, no, I did have that for quite a long time, that camera, and then I had my son, who's, like I said, just coming up to 18, and we went on holiday. He was under 1. We went on holiday to Scotland and came back and went out for the day after we literally come back and hadn't been back for very long because I hadn't taken the films to be developed at the time. Went out for the day because I think a friend had just had a baby, and came home and we'd been burgled, and they'd taken my camera and film that had been inside that I hadn't developed. So we now have nothing from that trip.
Oh, that's awful.
But I think I replaced it with the equivalent as a digital, and then I just started taking courses, really.
Okay.
It's taken me a long time. It's like not it's not like, oh, it's a speedy journey. It's like hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years. What kind of courses, like online courses or physical kind of courses? Or?
This is what I mean. It's like now it's so easy, I think, to find courses to sort of teach yourself. But there was nothing that, I don't think Flickr even existed then.
Wow, this is a while ago.
Yeah. Maybe Flickr did. Instagram didn't exist, definitely. Right. And so I was on this site that was around at the same sort of, I think it was probably earlier stages of Flickr, and this thing called Red something or other.
Okay.
But it was a similar sort of thing. And then people sort of jumped from that at some point to Instagram when it started.
Okay, right.
So, yeah, I was talking hundreds of years ago.
So you were learning from that kind of courses. And how did you get your first kind of work, your first kind of family clients and things?
So I suppose so I decided I wasn't going to go back to doing what I was doing before.
Okay, what were you doing?
So I've got quite a speckled CV. I don't know if that's the right word. Because I think I never really settled into anything. I should have gone to art school, but I went to I didn't have the confidence to do that. I went to university, jumping backwards a bit, to do business. And so I was in a couple of roles like that. And then I actually knew that this wasn't right. So I thought I'm going to retrain and do something. And actually photography was one of the things that I was looking at. I ended up going to floristry.
Oh, right. Wow.
Actually, this is actually quite interesting because when I was there, I worked for one of the top florists in London. Right. And she had quite a big enterprise. So I did some really interesting stuff with her, actually. But one of the things, she did quite a lot of magazine shoots, and she had some range of things that she sold online as well. So I used to do her photo shoots for her and do the styling.
Oh, cool.
The photographers. And that was one of the things that actually made me realise that I was really interested in that side.
That's cool, yeah.
Then I had kids and I wasn't going to go back. And so I don't know, I just started picking up work, really. Obviously, massively underpaid. I don't know if I was doing work or I was just doing pictures for friends.
Oh, yeah.
Did
you have a website then and stuff?
No. And then one of the guys, I'd been to college to do a little course. This was one of the courses I'd done. I'd done a local college course. So I met a really nice group of guys on the course and stayed in touch with them. And one of them was saying, there's some women doing they've gone on to be wedding photographers. And so there's some really great women doing family shoots. You should look at that. And so I did. And then I set up a website the next day and started to...
Oh, nice. That's cool, though. You proper went for it then.
They sort of, I don't know, opened my eyes to the fact that I could do it and sort of incentivized me to go and do it. And so I started setting up my own website, which was rubbish and years ago. Quite embarrassing, probably.
It's good you're able to do that yourself, though, as well.
It took quite a long time. When I say I set it up the next day, that's not true. I started setting it up. I should have said. Yeah.
And then so now do you remember the first shoot you did that weren't friends, first clients that you didn't know personally?
I'm trying to think.
I always think it's quite funny.
Actually, I think I'm pretty sure it's someone who still comes back for shoots with me.
Well, that's great.
So it's a family that stayed in touch, and so it was obviously it's a word of mouth thing. I think I'd done a photo shoot for one of the teachers at my kids' school actually. So, so not a friend, but someone I knew still booked me for something. And her auntie was showing a girl at the auntie's work the pictures. And the girl that she was speaking to was pregnant, and she decided she wanted to have them. Because at the time, this is like I said, it's ages ago, and family documentaries didn't exist.
Right, yeah.
And I was still finding my way, really. I was doing some really hideous stuff, wrapping babies and posed stuff that I just...
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask you about that, if you started really straight away in documentary or if you did have different...
I think I always shot my family like that, but not clients, because I didn't really realise that there was a market for it.
Yeah, sure.
And it was like even lifestyle family photography was only just at its infancy, really.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah, and they've come back. So they had their first baby. I took those, and then they had another baby. They've had them really spread out like my kids, actually. She went through, with the second baby, she had breast cancer at the time, the woman as well. So I had quite a close relationship with them because I went through quite a lot with them that year. And then they surprised me, rang me a year ago, said, well, slightly more than a year ago, because it was before the lockdown.
Oh, okay.
We're pregnant again, we'd love to have another family shoot. And so
that's cool. Do you get many kind of families, what you do kind of repeat shoots for over the years?
Yeah, I mean, often when they're adding a child to the mix.
Yeah, it's a good excuse to get more photos.
Yeah, it often triggers people. I don't know why. It's really weird, I think, because I mean, I know it does make sense that certain events make you think, oh God, we must get photos done. And in the same way as like a wedding or like 70th birthdays, that I was saying, there's things that trigger it, aren't there? Yeah. But actually, the point of documentary is that you're capturing every day, and that's it's weird. So you spend every day doing everyday stuff, and yet we record the special things.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? I guess it's human nature, but it's a shame.
Like with clothes, isn't it? You spend a fortune on really special things that you wear twice. And things you wear every day are really, things. Yeah. Sainsbury's or something,
Yeah, that's true. They're not celebrated enough. That kind of. It must have been difficult when you were starting out as well, though, to try and to do a kind of niche that didn't really exist that much at the time. And did you find yourself trying, like, persuading people, families?
It was, and I was new to running my own business, and I still had little kids as well, so it was all just making it up as I went along, really, and not particularly well planned. I wouldn't recommend that anyone did that, by the way.
Well, it's worked out for you, though. I mean, it's worked out for you. You're doing so well, and your work is so good. Like, you were third in the UK on this Reportage Family for 2020 as well, with 5 Reportage Family Awards and 2 Story Awards. And massive congrats on that. Was that fun to find out?
Yeah, it was. It was cool, and there's so many different competitions, and I do think that documentary work often comes off badly against other, when it's been compared against other genre somehow. I find it really weird, because I think sort of I think there's so much to documentary work. There's layers and stories, and you can spend time looking. It's not just something that looks pretty. There's other things to it.
Oh, definitely.
Sort of academically, there's more to it, which I really like about it. And yet sometimes when it's compared against highly edited stuff, it comes off badly. So I do like the growth in platforms that give documentary photography a voice.
Definitely, totally agree. Yeah, definitely.
I don't know whether it comes off badly, but I just think it's really difficult to judge. Let's take, like, if you take newborn, if you're comparing like birth photography against a wrapped posed newborn, they're just incomparable things, and yet you get them into the same category. So and I think it's really important for the growth of the genre as well. I think there's more and more photographers, because in wedding photography, it's been around for a long time. When I got married years ago.
Well, the kind of documentary kind of approach to it.
So yeah, and I think there's just different people, isn't there, that things appeal to, and like the idea of a posed shoot for me is really uncomfortable. So that's like, I didn't have that for my own wedding.
Right. Yeah.
It's funny, actually, I was embarrassed to tell people that I worked as a photographer initially. And now,
Oh, really? Yeah.
yeah, because I felt a bit icky about the type of pictures that I was taking. It's like, 'cause I didn't actually have them myself. It's weird, isn't it? That, but
Are you proud now when people ask?
yeah, definitely. I'll shout about it from the rooftops now because I think it's a really important thing, important genre. It's an important work, and it's beautiful work as well. So yeah, I'm proud of it.
Oh yes, and so you should be. So you should be. And one of your specific Reportage Family Awards actually that I love. It's of a dog and a girl, and they're both lying down on the floor. And do you know what I mean? It looks like it's like a dog rope toy kind of in the frame as well.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it because it like draws my eye to and from the different elements, like the toy, the girl, the dog, all around the frame. And I also love it because I'm not really sure what's happening. So can you tell us more about that individual frame?
Yeah, that's my daughter. Quite a lot of the pictures that I've got on Reportage from my own family because it's, I don't know if you have this problem. It's really hard to get the okay from clients to put pictures.
Right. Yeah.
These pictures now. I think it's easier within weddings than families. People are kind of protective of their kids.
Okay, I understand that. Yeah.
So they often say no, you can't use pictures. So
how do you feel when you get that? It must be. It's a shame. It's disappointing.
It's really gutting, yeah. Sometimes I can use them for less. There's lesser reasons. Like they'll be okay for me to use them on my portfolio. So I've got some client images on my portfolio on This Is Reportage, but I can't enter them into the awards.
Oh, okay, that's a shame.
So, yeah. I can't remember what you were saying.
Oh, yeah, that individual award. Yeah, that one.
That's just my daughter lying on the floor. My kids seem to this. My son not so much, but even my older daughter still. You find them just flopped on the. I love that about kids. I love their weird. That's one of the things that I really, really love, and I'm sure it's the same for a lot of family photographers because kids are just brilliantly unself-conscious and weird. And we lose that as adults. I mean, I enjoy it even from afar, like, sort of people watching point of view. If I'm walking around the supermarket or something, and there's a kid having a strop and lying on the floor or thrown in somewhere, I just find it really amusing.
You don't get out your phone and take a photo of it though, do you?
I'm so tempted.
I guess your family must be really used to it. Do you have the camera out much at home though?
I do, yes. I do go through phases as well. I feel like I've been in a bit of a meh phase the last few months. I'm sure the lockdown hasn't helped. It was just, this lockdown felt way more full on. School was more full on. It was dark and it was wet and muddy. It's got A levels this year, so it's like kind of all stressy. And it's just I just haven't felt inspired. But I still get it out and do shoot when I can, or
yeah.
But
I need to do that more. But that specific award, I just think is really cool. I just love the way, your eye is really drawn all through the different elements all around the frame. I really like that, and and I just like the aspect of it. I just don't know what's really going on.
Well, it's just, I think it's really funny because, obviously the dog's on the floor, and then you kind of some of the things that children do, the way they behave with these, and obviously the funny things that they do, just because they're less self-conscious, but they're also, it's a bit more animal-like, and I quite find that comparison with animals quite interesting. I always think when my kids, often they hate each other and they're fighting, really physically, and you see that replicated with dogs when they're playing, and then other times they're like literally can't get any closer to each other. Like they're lying on the sofa watching something, they're literally entangled with each other from an hour before, where they're tearing each other's hair out. And that reminds me of puppies when they're clambering up, trying to get to their milk and stuff. And I just think it's really interesting because kids are a bit like animals. It's really
That's so cool. I love that. That is a quote. Will they be listening back to your podcast episode? Will they hear that you say that?
My son, even, especially him when he was little, it was like having a puppy because he just was running around. He'd chase sticks and he'd get cross if he was hungry or tired. It was just like having a puppy. But yeah, so her just slumped on the floor. I just think it's funny when kids do that. And the dog toy, it's that's one of the things that I really like about documentaries, giving some information but not all of it. It's like telling a story with extra elements and deciding what to include not to include, where you place it. It all adds to how you read the frame.
Definitely. It's so involving, isn't it? And I love the aspects as well that each viewer will get maybe a different story from it. You know.
Absolutely. Yeah. And something that often because it's documentary, it's quite relatable as well. It might not be your exact situation, but you can understand it because something like that happens at your house.
That's so true.
Everyone's kids do strange. You're having a window into somebody else's life, but at the same time, it's relatable to your own life.
That's so true. No, that's cool. It's great to hear about that. And anyone listening now, you can head to thisreportage.com or thisreportagefamily.com, and I'll include that specific award that Emma was just talking about. That's really cool. And your dog looks lovely, by the way. That's your dog, yeah.
Yeah, she's my favourite in the family.
Your kids have got to listen to this episode now.
No, we do all agree that she's our favourite, everyone's favourite, because she's the one that's nicest to everyone. She always loves us, whatever.
Oh, they're great, aren't they? I do love dogs. I've got a 13-year-old collie cross. We don't know what she's crossed with. When we bought her, they just said they saw a black dog outside, so we don't know what she's crossed with, but she's gorgeous. Emma, let's change tack slightly. Let's change tack. Have you been? This is something I don't know. I don't think you're looking forward to this, but have you been watching much Netflix at all?
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, we're a bit cheeky actually. We kind of log in through my sister-in-law's accounts. We never.
Oh, nice.
Shouldn't have said that out loud on something that's being publicised. But it's God, I love it. It's brilliant.
Oh, that's good. Let's do. I've been doing a little kind of quiz over the last few episodes, so if you're up for it, we could do a little game. Yeah. Let's do it. Okay, so I'm just going to read out a Netflix, or it might be another streaming service synopsis anyway, of either a film or a series, and let's see if you can get it from the synopsis.
Okay, go on.
Okay, so we're going to start with an old school one. This is old school.
Okay.
And it's a movie. So a group of young misfits discover an ancient map and set out on an adventure to find a legendary pirate's long-lost treasure.
Ooh, that's Stranger Things or something.
Oh, it's in the similar vein of that, but we're talking even 20 years older than that film.
Flipping heck. It's not that one where they video each other, is it?
No, I don't think so. This is probably.
I was going to say Breakfast Club, but then you said the map, and I was like, oh. Oh,
it's a similar era, though, I think, of that. So we're talking 80s. Is it late 80s?
Must be something like that, yeah.
It's
I don't know.
There's a character.
Go on, sorry.
Called Sloth in it. I think it's called Sloth. And no, it's like a classic children's kind of adventure film.
I don't think I know. This is really annoying.
Okay, I'm going to say it. Don't worry. It's The Goonies.
Oh, The Goonies! We've got that on blooming video. I can't believe I didn't get that.
Well, the synopses are very often, they don't really relate that well, I think, to actually the thing. So, yeah, no worries.
Why didn't I get that?
I haven't seen it in years. It's a good one, though.
So I haven't seen it in years until my stepsister bought a DVD for them for Christmas about 3 or 4 years ago. So, yeah.
Well, did they like it, your kids?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I can't believe I didn't get it. I'm really cross now.
No worries. Right, let's move on. So this one's a series, okay? And it's had loads of seasons. Okay. But okay. Intern and eventual resident Meredith Grey finds herself caught up in personal and professional passions with fellow doctors at a Seattle hospital.
I think is this the one with Dr. Green? Is this the one with George Clooney?
It's a similar era, but it's not that. It's a different one.
Oh my God, I'm useless at this.
It's maybe a bit hard, this one. Anyway, so sorry?
Is it Scrubs?
Oh, it's similar era again, but it's not. It's a different one. It's should I tell you what it is?
Go on, tell me.
It's Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy! I can't believe it.
Oh, this is fun. I like inflicting this on people. It's fun. Okay. Last one, Emma. Let's go. So this is a movie. Okay, this is more modern. I think. Oh, it's probably about 8 years older actually. But okay, Audacious, risk-taking Wall Street stockbroker Jordan Belfort amasses wealth with his brash, drug-fueled attitude, drawing the attention of the FBI.
I've got this on DVD as well. I'm useless at remembering names, you can tell.
You've got it on DVD as well. I like it. It's cool.
I know. We're still this is so pre-Netflix. We were still watching DVDs.
It's Leonardo DiCaprio, I think. No. Should I tell you?
Yeah, please put me up on mystery.
It's The Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah. That was fun though.
My daughter has a massive crush on Leonardo DiCaprio, so again, like I literally have watched everything of his.
Oh, that's cool.
I can't believe it. I'm really disappointed in myself.
Do not worry. I really enjoyed that. It was fun.
I'm competitive at all.
Oh, Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah, he's awesome. I remember going to see Titanic like 3 times at the cinema. I used to love Kate Winslet, so a big crush on Kate Winslet. I know.
Those 2 lead characters, well, didn't they? What's really funny though is like, you know, my daughter and her friends all love the young. They always say that, the young Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, right, okay.
He doesn't look any good anymore. But.
That's funny. So Emma, I read that you went to university in France. Is that right?
I did. Yes, I did.
That's cool. Do you speak like fluent French?
Well, that was years ago. So at the time I did.
How did that happen? Why did you go to France for university?
Just because it sounded exciting. I get bored easily, and so I need exciting things to happen. And
that is very
like
exciting.
I should have gone to art school. I think I said that earlier, but instead I thought I'd go and work in the fashion industry was my plan. I thought, I'll kind of link the 2 together and I'll work in the fashion industry, so I'll go and do business. And there was this course where you actually did it in France, 2 years in France, 2 years in Britain, and you got degrees out of it. So I went there.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it was really cool. Really weirdly, just found out this week that Ana Guisado, I think her name is, she's Spanish. She's one of the people who, one of the girls who does a lot of work for the DFP.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I was on a call with them on Monday evening, and a couple of weeks ago for the exhibition that they were doing, the virtual exhibition they were doing. And through that, some friends of hers were watching it from her old university friends of hers. And they recognised me because I also went to university with them in the UK. And so we actually did the same programme, but in different countries, and have mutual friends, which is really weird.
That's a small world, isn't it? That's mad. Small world.
She messaged me and said, I think we've got mutual friends. I'm like, what? What do you mean? It's quite a big programme, and it was a really cool programme actually, because we did, across different countries and stuff. So I don't regret doing it, because I've got great friends all over the place.
It must have been super exciting as well to go and live in France and study.
Yeah, it was really cool actually. Do you know, talking of photography, one of my favourite photographs of my family, and it's that thing about documentary and memories. So when I was 18, I was going to, and I went straight to France, and there was about 18 of us going.
Oh, cool.
And there was this bus that was going to take us over, and all the parents were dropping off their kids. And my mum and my dad and my sister. My sister's nearly 9 years younger than me, so she was about 10.
Okay.
And there's this photograph that my dad took of the family saying goodbye as the bus went off, and everyone's there happily waving away, obviously delighted that their annoying teenagers are leaving. And my mum and my sister got this, are literally dissolving into tears. It's like like a tragedy's happened, and they're both standing there crying, and it's just it's a really lovely photograph. It's a really funny photograph.
That's proper documentary, isn't it? That's a proper moment.
And it just makes us laugh, and but yeah, that's my family all over.
I was going to ask you about that though, anyway, because that's a big deal going off at 18 to go and live and study in a different country. Your parents they must be nervous. Were they nervous?
That's probably what my mum's reaction was about.
Yeah.
Do you know, I can still remember that bus journey really, really well. So it must be quite a prominent, it must have been like a pivotal moment, because I can remember talking to people on the bus, we'd never met each other, and chatting. Right. It was quite a long journey. Yeah, it was.
Big deal. Were you when you said there was about 18 of you going then? Were you kind of living together over there, or?
So this is funny actually. At the time, the course there was a German cohort, a French cohort, a Spanish cohort, and a British cohort.
Right.
And the Brits were known as the thickies.
That's funny.
Because obviously our ability at languages is slightly, I don't know why, but
it's not as good as the continent, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
And basically the Brits often used to fail on the course. So they set up this thing where they had to have a crash course before it started. It was so some people started in Britain, some people started in France, and the same with all the other countries. Everyone was kind of higgledy-piggledy around.
Okay.
So the Brits that started in England were slightly different, but the ones who started in France, you had to have had certain A levels to go to France. Obviously, French being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And but as we were known as the thickies, we had to go out 2 weeks early to get a crash course in. So it was a business school in French and in maths, to make sure that we were up to the better standard than.
Really? And it was just the English ones who had to do that 2 weeks early?
The English people, yeah. And so for the first 2 weeks, we were in this youth hostel together, and we'd all sort of walk up to the university together and do these crash courses. I would spend all day there. My husband laughs because he did geography at Manchester and seemed to spend most of his time playing snooker or football. And when, I don't know, he had like 6 hours lectures a week, and I went to this thing in France, and we had like 40 hours a week lectures.
No, God, that's proper full on.
Saturday morning as well. It's like, what the heck's this? And then we, after that 2 weeks, then we were living in flats. It wasn't student accommodation, but they were flats that were sort of opposite where the university was.
Okay, cool.
So we all kind of went into smaller groups, and so it was a bit like being in halls.
It sounds awesome. It does sound awesome. Apart from the 40-hour weeks bit, I was like your husband. Only had like 6 hours a week of lectures, which is great. But yeah, it sounds an adventure.
We got given these computers, laptops too. So everyone had them as pairs. And I'd never come across them. When I say laptop, they were the most hilarious things, because they were massive, really heavy, enormous things. In terms of the actual size of them, they were like a sort of depth of an encyclopedia, and then the size of, like double the size of like a record player. So it was
pretty big.
I remember I was sharing it with my house. I was so untechy. I still am untechy, actually. My flatmate Teresa, and we brought it home, and we couldn't understand how to turn it on. We didn't know how to turn it on. Couldn't work out how to turn it on, because obviously at home we'd just I don't know, it was in the era of BBC computers and Spectrum and things, and so we hadn't been able to do what we were supposed to do before the class, and we were really panicking. All it was that half the computer was a battery, and half the thing, and it couldn't run on its own without being plugged in, and we just hadn't plugged it in.
That's funny. Living up to that kind of reputation of the English ones.
yeah, the thickies.
Oh, that is funny. Oh, cool. Well, what an adventure there. That is really, really cool. Let's go. I'm really enjoying talking about that. Let's go back to photography though, Emma, because I think people would be just really interested to hear from you. This is quite a big question, but what would be your top tips, Emma, to help someone become better at the documentary side of family photography? You know, if they're listening, I just wanted some top tips, some advice, or, you know, what would you say?
So if you've got your own family, I would definitely practice on them, because you always have more time to observe and take in the moment and be ready. Whereas, you know, if you're on a client shoot, there's a slight pressure there that you've got to perform, you've got to get like a series of images, they're paying you. But when it's your own family life, you don't have that pressure of doing it in a certain period of time. You can just take pictures when you think, yeah, this is interesting. And work the scene and, you know, wait for things to happen. So I think that's really valuable. I think it's really valuable to try and get longer sessions with clients as well, to actually practice in the field. And the longer the session is, the easier it is to get really good documentary shots.
Is that because they get more used to your presence?
Yeah, they're more used to you being there, so they kind of forget that you're there. You become sort of part of the scenery, or you chat, so you're like a friend, you know, and they just get used to it, and their guard comes down.
Makes sense.
You know, because it's tiring to keep up appearances, isn't it? So after a while, that sort of stops.
That's true.
So it just becomes more routine. You know, they're doing more routine, normal stuff. They're not performing for you. They're not trying to do anything for the camera. They're not thinking. You know, they're not specifically doing an activity because they think they should be doing it because
If that's all part of the education as well to the client. I mean, when the clients come to you, do they sometimes ask you, you know, like they're not sure how much coverage they want? And I guess you are persuading them to do longer shoots, but then you kind of trying to tell them to do longer shoots, because they'll get better images as well, but without coming across that you want to just get more money from them as well. It's tricky in that way.
You get more money from them, but they're paying more. They're getting. I mean, it's in a way they're often better value for money, the long sessions.
That makes sense.
In terms of the amount of time you're there and the pictures that you get. So I think it really depends. I think often I still have a shorter session package, because I think it's important to get those people that aren't quite sure if it's for them. It gives people a chance to try the style out.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Something full price. I would like to get rid of my shortest sessions. It's like, you know, a couple of hours. A lot of it, I think, is educating the clients beforehand. So spending time with them, really talking about it, and you get a feel for it. Because some clients, you can just tell that they understand it. Either they've been following you for a while and they've seen the work, or like I got one recently, and just I have a Zoom conversation with them most of the time now, rather than a phone conversation. Just quite like chatting face to face. You get an idea of what the house is like, and they're like, you know, and how they turn up to a Zoom meeting is quite telling.
Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
And so just to chat, to make sure that we're a good fit, and really make sure they understand what it's about. And like this one recently, actually, I was like, I wasn't sure initially. I was thinking, she said something that made me think, I wonder if she gets what it is. But it became completely evident through our Zoom conversation. We totally knew what it was. And she was my ideal client, because her dad had worked for Guardian newspaper all his life as a photojournalist. So
she knew what she was getting into. That
was completely wrong with that. I can't remember what she said, but something made me think, I don't think she understands, but she did.
Have you ever, by the way, just because that's come up, have you ever kind of like said no to a potential client, you know, because you think maybe they just don't want documentary or what you can do?
So no, I went through a stage where I was doing lifestyle photography, because that's kind of where I've part of my journey was like I've gone through various stages, and obviously like through that I'm sort of developing my own style with my own family. And when I say lifestyle, I was really massively loose, because I think lifestyle is like a spectrum from almost portraits, like studio portraits outside, to what I was doing, where it was like an organised place and time, and then it was a bit of a, free for all, which is verging on documentary, but it's a planned activity, and it was generally outside, and like specific times of day, so which made it a bit more lifestyle look and feel, and people would plan their outfits, and I've realised I just sort of came across that it actually existed as a genre probably a couple of years ago now. I thought, oh wow, this now I found where my heart lies.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
So some of my clients are still from that phase. So there's an element of education. You bring them with you, and there's an education element to them.
Yeah.
So that's where it's a little bit tenuous. So I don't say no to them, because they're really good clients who come back and they trust me.
Sure.
It's about explaining to them what's different, what's changed.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And how are you getting, a lot of your work? Do is it a lot of word of mouth from past happy clients, or what is it?
My work does come from word of mouth.
That's cool.
I don't necessarily realise it at the time, but it might come up in conversation at some point.
Yeah.
But it's like, a friend of a friend of a friend of, or that, or like, so I get.
Cool. Was that you beeping on me?
Really? I get some people who I can see they're sort of stalking me on social media.
Oh, that's cool. In a good way, good stalking way.
No, I recognise, especially if it's like an unusual name.
Okay, yeah.
And then suddenly they'll crop up as an inquiry.
Oh, that's cool. That's working then. Yeah. Do you use Instagram, Facebook much then?
Yeah, so I do use Instagram. I have that same problem, where I don't have a huge number of pictures, like client pictures I can use. I don't know what I'm going to do when my kids are older and I can't take pictures.
Yeah, it's funny.
But
that thing about clients not wanting, you to show many images, does that come up quite often then? Do they question your kind of contract, or?
I used to have that problem at all. And there was specific people who would say, like, I've had a couple of people where it's like adopted children and they can't be online. So specific things where people would ask, or like policemen and teachers sometimes don't like things sharing. But since GDPR, it's like that's almost brought to people's attention. And that it's made them think about it, whereas before they weren't thinking about it. And so now they're like, don't think I want it. But sometimes if it's like an image that I really, really want to use, I'll go specifically with an image and see if they'll let me, which doesn't. One of my very favourite images that I've ever taken, I can't use. I can't use it. Can't use
really?
It.
Can't use it anywhere? Oh, man. Yeah, that's such a bummer. It's such a bummer. And I get that sometimes in weddings as well. Some weddings have. Oh, sorry. I just say I get that in weddings as well. Some weddings that I can't show any images for, and they often seem to be the best. Well, some of the great ones. You get some great images, and it's. It's
always like that, isn't it? The ones where you get the best images, you can't.
Yeah, I wonder if that's not, not Murphy's Law. Maybe that's something within us that we kind of know. We kind of just relax into it even more. just enjoy it more for the sake of shooting. I don't know.
I didn't. That's really interesting. That it happens in weddings as well, because, like, because you see a lot of wedding pictures online, and I think people are younger and they're often of the age where they're using social media more and selfie generation and things, and that it feels like they're less inhibited about sharing online. But obviously, you do still get people that don't.
Yeah, I do still. No, I mean, not loads. I'll probably just get one every couple of years. So I have a whole NDA over the whole wedding. But yeah, it's always a shame.
I think it's mainly to do with the children and people not wanting their children online.
Yeah, I understand that.
But I do, like, I'll go and ask about specific images if I really want to use them, and sometimes I can use them on my and then break it down what they'd be happy for me to use it for.
That's all good. That's all good, isn't it? And Emma, you mentioned just a bit earlier actually about an exhibition. You've been featured in 2 exhibitions recently, one of which we spoke about on the podcast recently with Agada Sanfiz.
Yes,
that picture imperfect. Congrats. What does it mean for you to be featured in those exhibitions? It's proper cool.
It is really, really cool, actually. It's almost like a bucket list thing ticked off.
I bet.
It's super cool. And this is what I think I touched on this earlier. It's what I love about documentary. I feel like the pictures have so many more layers of meaning. And that's like, from a personal point of view, there's the challenge of capturing that. And from a sort of viewer perspective, I'll stop and look and think. Documentary images stop to make me think and make me read for longer. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's really lovely about working in the field, is it's got that intellectual capacity to go into sort of personal projects and deeper meaning, and it opens up this avenue of doing things on a more sort of conceptual and artistic level. I find that really fulfilling, actually. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's art on the fly. That's what I love about documentary, whether that's weddings or family, it's art on the fly. It's amazing. Street
photography as well. It's this, they all sort of tightly linked, aren't they?
Totally.
And you can't recreate it either.
Exactly. Totally one-off moments.
That's one of the things, actually, about when you talked about tips, slowing down and waiting, and sort of waiting for the moment is like really key, and trusting that it will happen. Seeing potential and then waiting.
That's a big deal, isn't it?
It's a really hard thing to practice and learn. But I think if you can get to that stage of belief, you're rewarded with the better material.
And that is, as you say, that kind of belief. It's confidence in yourself to do that as well, isn't it? Because it's easier in a way to be like a headless chicken and just trying to capture as much as possible. But to slow down, you have to have a bit more confidence in yourself and the situation. But you do get rewarded. Yeah,
you do, because I think if you're chasing, like you said, like a headless chicken, you're chasing's the right word. You're chasing the moment all the time. You're chasing it, and so you're often behind. You're like one step behind where it's happening.
Right. Yeah.
You sort of stop and have some composure and see the potential and get your sort of composition ready and sort of anticipate what might happen. Then you're rewarded with something, and sometimes you're not rewarded, but you have to sort of, win some, lose some, to get the great shots, I think.
Definitely. And not be scared of, as you say, the losing bits as well. Yeah. You have to go through failure to get the good stuff.
Yeah. And it's because it is, I think, to get the great shots, anticipating what might happen is really important, rather than chasing it and being behind where it happens.
Yeah.
And that you for all the will in the world, you can't make things happen. So you can anticipate something might happen, but then if it doesn't, it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't come together. The planets don't align.
Yeah.
And you might get an average shot out of it, but not like a great shot. But average is fine. Something you give to that you still include. If it says something about the family, you can still include the gallery. They'll you have to remember that. I think clients, it's their family. They still love the pictures.
Definitely. Yeah, that's so true. I love this on your website, Emma, by the way, as well, on your bio, where you say that your mom located the house you were born on Google Earth, and for your 40th you went to Canada and tracked it down to show your kids, and then it was pretty emotional, obviously. That sounds awesome though. Yeah, can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so I was born in Canada and lived there for about a year. My mum and dad actually divorced before I was born.
Okay, right.
So so I was born in that house, and we lived there for a little while, and then a couple of other houses, and then came back to Britain. And I've been out to visit, when I say my godmother, she's just like one of my mum's friends from out there, and her family stayed out there. They moved out at the same time, and they stayed, and my mum came back with me.
Right.
And so occasionally I've been there when I was younger. I'd go and stay with her. But I hadn't been back for many years. I'm trying to think, from my teens, really. And we'd decided that we'd go back to sort of heritage reasons, to show the kids when it was my 40th. And when we decided that we'd do this, I don't know, I was probably about 35 or something at the time. And we were like predicting that obviously the kids, this was just the first 2 kids, would be great age. Then, they'd be something like 8 and 6, 9 and 7, something like that. I can't remember, right. 8 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
And they were good age for travels and taking it in and memory and everything. And then in between that, we had my youngest, Elsie. So she was 1. And she was the most active baby ever. Really into everything, climbed everywhere. And so I was really anxious about the long haul flight.
Yeah.
And I'd decided I'd got this. We'd got one of the seats where you had the bulk hold or whatever it is. So I had a bit more space for her to.
Okay.
And then my husband and the other 2 were on the row behind us. And I'd got like hold all, and I'd been around charity shops and I bought little things and I'd wrapped them all up, like little things that would keep her busy so she could sit there unwrapping things and. Silly sort of things that little kids like, little set of keys that I didn't know where they came from, and old mobile. So, everything, and like lots of little like treats, food treats that she'd like. And we got onto the plane, and I said to my husband, I said, "Oh, can I have the bag, please?" And he went, "What bag?"
Oh no.
I went, the bag that you've been looking after with all of Elsie's stuff in it. And I haven't got a bag.
Where was the bag? Where's the bag?
I think I almost burst into tears and almost divorced him on the spot because he'd left the bag in the and so I have this,
no, where had he left it? Sorry, I missed it. Where had he left it?
In the airport.
Oh, right, okay.
We'd gone on, it was I can't remember what airport it was, but wherever we were, we'd taken a bus to the plane, and we were on the plane, and the plane was leaving.
Oh, no.
And the bag was in the airport, and so I had this sort of 8-hour journey ahead of me with Elsie and nothing.
Oh, no. Yeah.
But yes, that's the story aside. But yeah, then we like road trips. We did a road trip there as well, and my mum had found the house on Google Maps, and because it's got street view, she'd gone around. She knew roughly, she obviously remembers where she lived and that. And she was like going down that street. It was kind of convenient because every house on the street was different. And as soon as she saw it, she's like, "That's the house." And showed it to me. So again, we just followed the map to the house and got out. And it was the weirdest thing. I was kind of really excited. It's like, oh, we're going to go and see it. And we turned up and I just burst into tears. It was really weird. I wasn't expecting it at all. Man. Really emotional.
And that was actually where you were born, in that house?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so I went and knocked on the door, but unfortunately no one was there. It was a real shame.
That's a bit of an anticlimax.
Gone over the ocean and no one was there.
But still, that's so cool to have been able to show your kids as well the house where you were born.
It was really cool. It was it was worth it. It's good.
I love that. That's a great story. I like the way he uses modern technology as well with using Google Maps. That's probably cool.
And my mum using modern technology as well. That's even more of a miracle.
Oh, Emma, it's been so interesting. I just looked down. It's like over an hour already. We've been chatting. It's just flown by. It's been it's been so much fun talking to you. And we've got time just for one more question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you say that watching Friends is one of your guilty pleasures. I saw that on your website. Do you have an all-time favorite episode?
Oh my God.
Tricky one.
I think I'm going to cheat. It's not a favourite episode.
Okay.
I think it's a series of episodes when Monica and Chandler get together, and when different members of the team find out at different times, and they're all trying to hide it from Ross. That series, that set of episodes, and that sort of moment that's sort of developing over those episodes where, you know, they're all trying to lie to Ross, and that's I think one of my favourite parts.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I haven't seen them in years. You know, I used to be obsessed when it began. I used to be obsessed with Jennifer Aniston, you know, Rachel as well. And I was like, what?
Rachel haircut, you know, I'm not going to lie, I had a Rachel haircut. But it was really weird then, because you watched it. It was on Friday nights, wasn't it? And everyone watched it on the same day at the same time around the world practically.
Oh yeah, it's so different now.
Everyone was talking about it the next day, you know, in the office or wherever. And now everyone just watches things, binge watches whenever, and you don't get that climax anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I used to be obsessed with it. But you'll get this actually if your kids are the age of, did you say 9 and 6?
Yes.
They're just coming into Friends stage.
I guess that's true. Yeah. I'm looking forward to introducing them to that at some point.
My oldest watched it a lot and they loved it.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. It's all on Netflix, isn't it, still?
Yeah, you can watch it all.
Yeah, going to do that at some point. Going to do that. And I'm looking forward to, I used to be a big Dawson's Creek fan. I'm looking forward to showing my...
Yeah, I love that as well. I mean, actually, Michelle Williams is one of my favourite actresses. Oh, yeah. Love her. I still love her. She's my sort of style icon. She's great, isn't she?
She's in The Greatest Showman as well.
Yeah, she's in loads of cool... She's a bit of a sort of indie type of actress. She does some really cool, slightly offbeat films as well. She was great. She was fab. Yeah, I love it.
I love it. I love talking about Friends, Dawson's Creek as well. It's awesome.
Really retro. This is retro. Yes. Taj goes retro.
This is Retrotage. Oh, Emma, thank you so much for talking to me. I really enjoyed it.
I have too. Thank you very much for having me.
No problem. You've had so many great stories, really interesting and great advice as well and tips. So I really enjoyed it. Thank you. Anyone listening now, obviously they're listening. I don't know why I say this. If they're hearing my voice, they are listening to the episode. So, do head to thisreportagefamily.com or thisreportage.com, and I'll include a link through to your site, Emma, and the Reportage Family Award that you spoke about. And also I hope this year goes well for you and we're all able to. Have you been vaccinated?
I have. Yes, I've had my first one.
Yes, and me. Yeah, it's cool. How did you feel the next day?
I was really ill.
Oh, were you? Which one did you have?
AstraZeneca.
Yeah, and me. I felt a little bit funny the next day, a bit kind of semi-flu-y. But apparently the second dose is that you don't get many side effects, apparently.
No, I had tummy cramps and flu symptoms for 2 days. I was really poorly. I just glad
really? Yeah, that's true. The long-term benefits, though. Long-term benefits.
Totally.
Yeah. Oh, but awesome. And hopefully I'll get to meet you one day. We should be doing this reportage family Christmas party in London this year. So if you're around.
Excellent. I'm just down the road from London, so that's good.
That'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great. Cool. Emma, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the 76th episode of the This is Reportage podcast. Emma was so lovely to talk to. Hope you enjoyed listening. Head to thisreportagefamily.com or thisreportage.com for a link through to her website and to see the specific Reportage Family Awards you spoke about too. Emma is also a co-founder of Made for Documentary, an educational platform for documentary family photographers. Turning chaos into art, elevating the documentary image is an intensive and interactive group mentoring program that she's running together with Antonina Mamzenko. And enrollment for the next run of this opens on the 25th of May. There are only 12 spots available, so sign up for the Made for Documentary mailing list at madefordocumentary.com to be the first to know when it launches. More details can also be found on this episode's page on thisisreportage.com or thisisreportagefamily.com. We have lots more episodes of the podcast available where we speak to family and wedding photographers from all over the world, delve into our back catalogue to hear from the likes of Agay DeSantis, Ralu Chase, Anna Hardy, Rowena Meadows, Pedro Villela, Valter Antunes, Sitlali Rico, Darren Kerwin, Eve Shephers, and many more. If you're not yet a member of this reportage or this reportage family, check out all the benefits of joining us, including an unlimited number of images on your profile, 60 individual award and 18 story award entries per year, invites to our physical meetups and parties, exclusive discounts, hours of educational videos featuring tips and advice from some of the world's best photographers, and much more too. The submission deadline is soon now for our next award collections. The deadline is the same for both our wedding site and our family site. Submit by 23:59 BST on 24th of May 2021. No poses, nothing staged. This is Reportage. And this is bye for now.